He's surprised she was seeing me as well, because he thought they were in a relationship back then. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Our Zone Stories. Sorry for not uploading the videos lately, but I'm back now. Today we have a story where this woman tried to make her boyfriend believe that she's faithful, but failed miserably. Let's see how this story ended. Me and my GF met 8 months ago. From the first date it was almost love at first sight. I'm 30 years old, have been in a 5-year relationship before that. So I thought I knew the drill, but I just let myself fall fast and hard for this person, because everything was perfect. I tried to slow things down, but I just couldn't, because I was so in love. I legit haven't had this sort of connection with anyone before, and I'm afraid this is clouding my judgment now. Anyway, so everything was going perfectly fine, or so I thought. We were meeting 3 or 4 times per week from the very beginning. After a couple of weeks, I asked her if we could be exclusive. She said yes, and we officially became a couple. She asked me to remove the dating apps from our phones, which I gladly did. Wasn't using it anymore since I met her, because I wanted to focus solely on this relationship to make it work. I was cheated on in the past by someone I had just met. No big deal, I wasn't in love with this person the day after she asked to be exclusive. This kinda affected, so I told my girlfriend that I needed her to be 100% honest. Her answer was exactly this: just reread the messages from back then. I will never hurt you. You are important to me, and I promise you that I will be honest, loyal, and loving you the best I could do. I love you, baby. I was just reassured to see this, and then just gave her my entire trust during the whole relationship. After 6 months, we moved in together, and we've been living together for the past 2 months. Everything was going fine until last Friday. We went dancing together as we always do. Came back both drunk. We went to bed, and I fell asleep. At some point, I woke up during the night and was super thirsty. So, I went to get some water and saw her phone on the table. She was a bit off that day, and I don't know, I just had this impulse of taking her phone and just unlock it. Well, first thing that popped up is a super short conversation with her ex. Super short as in she deleted the messages from before that day. She told me about him quite a few times before, saying he was always harassing her, and that she blocked him, but kept messaging her with different numbers. So I thought it was weird that she replied to a stalker and give him what he wanted. I confronted her about it. She admitted they had met on Tuesday, but nothing happened as they met for a coffee, so she can tell him to back off. The next day I asked her if I could message him to tell him to stop harassing her. She told me no at first, but when I asked again, she told me okay, do whatever you have to do so we can get past this. So I messaged the guy. He confirmed that they met for a coffee, and that she told him she moved on and was in a happy relationship. When I saw that, I got such a relief. But he tells me that he doesn't understand why she said he's keeping harassing her with a new number when he's kept the same number all the time. So then I tell him that she told me he's tried to contact her twice this year, including back in late July when she was going to Bali for a work trip. Well, turns out he came with her to Bali, and met her whole company and was introduced as a boyfriend. I asked for proof, which he sent me. He then says me that they were actually together from late June to mid-August, and that he's surprised she was seeing me as well, because he thought they were in a relationship back then. He then had to leave to his home country in mid-August for family reasons. My girlfriend confirmed all of this when she couldn't lie anymore. She told me she was in a transition phase back then, and that she felt guilty, but wasn't sure about us back then. I told her why she was promising all of these things then, and saying I love you and that we were the perfect match. She didn't have any answers really for this. 1 month later we were looking for an apartment together, and we moved in 2 months after he left. I'm not sure what to do. I've been crying like crazy, she's been crying as well. Yesterday I followed the advice from this subreddit, and went to a hotel room to get some peace and sleep. She messaged me at 3 a.m. saying, "Say goodbye to my mom for me." I freaked out, went in taxi and came back to see her sleeping in the bed. She took sleeping pills. Turned out she only took 2, so that was a relief. But after she woke up she tried to grab more, and it just turned out into an hour of me trying to not let her take more pills. This morning we again had an argument about all this, and she just lost it. I've never seen anyone lose it like this, and I'm just freaked out. She hit her on the table multiple times super strongly before I had the chance to stop her. I then had to follow her everywhere in the apartment to make sure she doesn't hurt herself. She told that she left everything to move in with me, that she turned down her ex so that we could have something real. I can't get out of the apartment to clear my head anymore. I'm too scared she's gonna hurt herself. Please help. I broke up with her. She cried and panicked, but didn't try to harm herself. She tried to make me stay, and for the first time I'm seeing how manipulative she can be. She told me that I had destroyed our future and what we have, and that I destroyed her, and broke her heart like none had done before. Really tough to hear, but I stood my ground. I called her cousin so she can come to watch her, and will tell her that she needs medical help. And then I will leave for a couple of weeks and come back to pick up the rest of my stuff when the situation have calmed down a bit. But I can't bear the responsibility to take care of her. This is incredibly manipulative and indicative of deeper emotional problems. She knew what she was doing was wrong, juggling both men. He should call her family, get them to watch her, and use it to get away. She's got serious mental health issues, and it would be a huge mistake to stick around any further. This is the real her that she hid from him. The one who can juggle 2 relationships without any cares in the world. The one who can lie to his face about never hurting him. This entire relationship has been a lie. His heart needs to catch up with his head. You must break up with her and kick her out of the apartment. If she even threatens or does any type of self-harm again, you execute the plan. Either drop her off or call the police. Again, do not agree to pay for any services for her. Leave her at hospital. Go home, pack her things. Call her friend or cousin to pick her things up. If they can't, put them in the apartment lobby, etc. Unfortunately, you have been used badly. You aren't the love of her life. She used her ex and she's using you. She is not stable. You are not responsible for her and you must protect yourself. This all happened so fast, and this amount and intensity of emotions is not healthy. I suggest you contact a lawyer too in case things escalate more. They can help you separate cleanly. This is a very messy situation. Be careful and good luck. Married 3 years, together 7, second marriage for both of us. No kids together, but 3 of mine and 1 of his at home with us, all teens. Last week, I was sick with the flu and my husband said, "I can't wait to give you an Australian caress." I laughed when he said it and said, "What's that?" "It's a tongue caress down under." We both laughed and I asked him where he picked that up. He said the kids at college. He's a full-time student. But we're in our 40s, we're talking about it and he overheard it. I knew it was nonsense and got the feeling he was lying. He's got a terrible habit of trickle-truthing. But being sick, I just didn't care enough. It wasn't a big deal and didn't address it. Later that night I went on Twitter because he had mentioned something political that I should read, which is what we had always used Twitter for, just political stuff, and an online girl shows up as a suggested follow, and I was truly shocked that it said my husband was a mutual follower. I clicked on it, and he had actually made the comment, "Would love to give you an Australian caress." I felt like I had gotten kicked in the chest. He wrote that a day earlier while I was in bed with 102 fever and he was sleeping on the couch. And the dummy told me to go on Twitter. It felt so gross that he commented. So personal. And what's really driving me crazy is that I didn't say anything until a few days later, after we had just had great bedroom activity. And I was calm and thought it was going to be a conversation about boundary reminders, and that we would revisit the reasons we wanted to be good to each other. But he said he knows that chatting up other people is not okay and he wouldn't do it. Being used to his trickle-truthing, I said to give it a while and we would talk another time. The next day I asked him if he thought about it, and he said that he had no idea what I was talking about, and that I was just accusing him. I was tired, and despite my intent to never let him know what I knew, I mentioned the comment, and that it was on Twitter. A short time later the comment was deleted, and he had unfollowed the girl. That night I tried to talk about it and he told me he hadn't been on Twitter in forever, was signed out and locked out as well. Again, I showed my cards and told him I had the screenshot, and then I also took screenshots of all the accounts he had followed, and that didn't he think it was extremely odd that he was hacked, but only 1 comment had been made, and that now it was deleted, and the girl was unfollowed. He was dumbfounded and got angry and rushed off to do something else. Honestly, at this point I was laughing because I couldn't believe how stupid he was. If he had fessed up, I would have thought, okay, I was sick, he was horny on the couch, no harm, no foul. But the way he fought to say it wasn't him makes me think it's highly likely he has a second Twitter account, and he didn't realize he was logged into the wrong one when he wrote that, and that was business as usual for him. So today he leaves all angry, because I told him at this point he is losing his marriage over a stupid Twitter comment. Because the gaslighting and lying is just too much for me. He goes to school, and sure enough a few minutes after he gets there, thanks Life 360, his account starts making almost the same exact comments on 5 girls' tweets during the 10 minutes he's sitting in the parking garage before classes start. I took the screenshots and just ignored it. Later in the day I text him to ask about something with the house, and he was being reserved. He was probably thinking himself waiting for me to call up and argue. Even later, I had to call him, and he answered like he was ready to argue. I didn't mention anything about any of it, just stuck to the topic I'd called about. Now, he just gets home, and I'm acting normal, caressing him hello, and he's like a jumpy chihuahua. I am laughing, because it's so obvious he's putting actual legwork into trying to cover his stupidity, but I'm also near tears, because it just makes me feel there's much worse going on and I can't deal with that. The lying and now chatting up more girls, whether because he wants to get caught or because he's trying to make it look like he's been hacked, is nauseating. And it wasn't really a big deal. But now I'm honestly thinking I have to divorce him, because who wants to be with someone that would go to such great lengths? I'm sick to my stomach yet also feeling sinister, and wondering if I should never mention the new comments, so that the uneasy feeling waiting for me to notice them, and say something drives him insane. I'm also kind of curious if he'll delete them again if I don't ever see them. It's a lot of words, and I apologize for the length, but if you've made it this far down, thoughts, suggestions, there's no way he was hacked, right? I'm at a loss, because I just can't imagine ever being okay with this behavior. But I'm also sick to my stomach with humiliation thinking that this stupid thing is what is ending my marriage. And I'm hurt, because the truth must be so much worse if he's going this far to avoid owning up to this little thing, right? I feel like I'm going to throw up. As a rule, I've never let liars near me. Even in a friendly capacity, I've always been pretty harsh about cutting people out of my life once they show the signs. In the beginning, that's exactly what I did with him. Cut him out at 3 weeks dating, and again at 3 months, for lies that were pretty inconsequential and not relationship breakers by most people's standards. Each time he heard what I said and did the work to repair the damage, and made true efforts towards being a better person. In time, I noticed he was lying in an attempt to avoid any emotional confrontation. I pointed it out to him. He sought counseling and worked very hard to be the person he always wanted to be, honest, caring, and capable of giving and receiving love. He made great strides, and always had the goal of being a good partner in the forefront of his mind. He was a pretty bad person in his former marriage, and he started to see that he perpetuated the situation that made him feel so uncared for, which led to him behaving worse. He had a lot of physical and emotional mistreat to work through, and it was all related. That's how I ended up marrying him. He had made consistent emotional growth and progress, and I was loving the love. I had never been happier. It was easy to look forward and see a bright future. I was divorced as well, and while I wasn't a bad wife to my ex, I gave up and didn't address my unmet needs. And I wasn't good at seeing my own faults or taking responsibility. I was working on uncovering and then fixing the things in my life and mind that had led me to where I was. While he has lied about things through the years, did you pay the mortgage? It was due yesterday. Absolutely, I would never forget. 20 minutes later, the bank sends a notice that the mortgage payment was initiated, and truthed about, it has always been geared towards self-preservation and not towards relationship deception. That made it easier to forgive and move forward. I realized that when I wrote this post I was angry because I was hurt. Things have been off for a year, and even though I've never admitted it, I'm scared. In the length of the post and my responses, I'm seeing that I've held a lot in for a long time. I now see that I've needed to speak to someone, or more likely many someones, because while I'm trying to communicate with my husband, his stress level is near breaking him, and he has been vocal that my coming to him with relationship concerns only adds to it. I don't think that's okay, and it certainly isn't cool in any marriage I want to be part of. But I also know that in the thick of it he just doesn't have many of the tools necessary to deal, and honestly isn't capable of helping me. He's been showing how tenuous those tools are for the last year. As someone who wants to be a good partner, I've been trying to help ease the stress by keeping my stuff from him. I guess the comment he made on a Twitter post finally opened my eyes to how I'm not thriving because of his situation, and that I'm at the point that I need to do what is right for me, and not what is right for him or for us. It's a process, figuring all of this out. I wish I could say I knew it all before and ignored it, but I had no idea I'd be seeking out comfort and advice on Reddit. Maybe I should have done differently. I'm sure I'm going to be thinking about that for the foreseeable future, but today I don't have those answers. In general, I'm on a path to be the best me I can be, and I thought helping the person who makes my heart smile was the right thing to do. I'm sure if I uncover that he actually has been faithful, I will regret it all, but I am not there yet, and as much as it scares me, I'm not avoiding finding out. I think she hit the nail on the head. She is right to calmly think about divorce and start making steps in that direction. Life is better when these people are no longer part of her life. The sooner she escapes and begin recovery, the sooner she will see the sunshine on the other side.